So this is the continuation of Samson and Delilah. Where we left off was Delilah was approached by the Philistines to find out what Samson's weakness was so that they could take him out, right? And they offered her money to do this. And this was the love of his life, Delilah. He was so in love with her. And she betrayed him. So she played these games with him, trying to get him to tell her what it was that was his weakness. So he'd tell her, oh, it was the ropes. And she'd try the ropes and it wasn't. And then, it was the weaving. And that wasn't it. And then he'd tell her, oh, it was something else. And that wasn't it. So she threw a fit. You say you love me, but yet you don't confide in me. You don't tell me your heart. You don't tell me what your weaknesses are. So Samson opens his heart up to her, and he tells her everything. Tells her his heart. He tells her everything that's important to him. And then he tells her what his weaknesses is. And it was his hair. If his hair was shaved or cut, he would no longer have the strength that he had. So she sets him up. He goes to sleep and she sets him up. They take him, she shaves his head, and then she tells him, oh, the Palestinians are here. And they were. And they came and got him. And there was nothing he could do. So they took him to their prison, and they gouged his eyes out. And they made him pretty much entertain them. They humiliated him. And he had been in prison for quite a while. Long enough for his hair to grow back. Right? But he didn't know if his hair growing back would make a difference with his strength. So he prays to God. After they tell him they want him to come and entertain him once again. So he prays to God and he asks God, please God, one more time, let me have strength again so that I can defeat the Palestinians. With my eyes the way they are, take me with them. When I defeat them, take me to my death. Because I don't want to be alive anymore. I just want revenge on them. I want to take them out. And I want you to take me out along with them. So God granted it. So they take him, and they're all having dinner, and they're drinking, and they're being merry, and they call him to entertain them. And so they bring him there, and he tells them, please allow me to lean up against these pillars so that I can rest. And so as he goes and he leans up against these two pillars. Now, Samson was a very large man. He takes and he shakes the two pillars in that dining hall. And the roof comes down onto them and to himself. And it takes him out, and it takes everyone out in that hall. Everyone in that hall dies. They say that there were more people taken out in that dining hall than he had ever taken out in war. And it took his life as well. God granted him exactly what he wanted. Now you might ask, why would God put him through this? Why did God let him be born just to have that happen? But what you don't understand is God didn't want it. I don't think God wanted it to happen like that. I honestly don't. What I think happened, what I believe happened, was, he had all the strength. and he had a hot head. He was very quick to temper. Now, when you're quick to temper, bad things are going to happen. When you're quick to duke it out with somebody, to get revenge, instead of allowing God to take the revenge, you're putting yourself into positions that are going to destroy you. They're going to cause you trouble. They're going to cause you problems. That's why God says, vengeance is mine. Now, he had such a hot temper that he destroyed a lion. He destroyed the entire fields of the Philistines. He killed thousands of men. And they were able to use his weakness against him because he did not turn to God and talk to God about what was going on. He didn't turn to God and talk to God about anything. He didn't allow God to take the revenge. He didn't use his discernment. And obviously he had discernment. We all do. And he didn't use his discernment at all. And by not listening to his discernment, even though his first wife had tricked him into giving up his answer, he didn't learn anything from the first wife tricking him to give up his answer, because when the second wife tricked him, he gave up his life. She tricked him into destruction, and put him in prison, had his eyes gouged out because of it, and eventually to his death. So what does that story tell us? One, you probably shouldn't cut your hair. I do believe that. I believe there is a reason for us knowing that his hair was his strength. Because if you listen to native people, they also believe that their hair is their strength. And that was proven in World War II, I believe it was. Now, and God talks to everyone in the Bible. He gives us instructions not to cut the hair. Now, the other thing that you need to take away from this is to control your temper. To let God have last word. Let him get vengeance. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Now, he didn't do that. He didn't do that. And ultimately, it ended up into his destruction. Now, God also gives us discernment. And that is why it is so important to sharpen your discernment and listen to your discernment. Because even the people closest to you could be against you. Even the people you think love you might not feel the same way that you feel about them. That happens in life, right? These are important lessons, I believe, to learn from the story of Samson and Delilah. I really do. Samson was there. I watched The Naked Archaeology, and he was talking to some other archaeologists, and some people believe that Samson was actually a giant, a Nephilim. I don't believe that because he was of God, and Nephilims are not. But a lot of people thought that because he was a giant. Oops, lost my pen. But I don't believe that. I believe that he was larger than life because God made him larger than life to defeat the Philistines. Now, had he made other choices, the story might have went a different way. But he didn't make the right choices, and it ultimately destroyed him in the process. So, that is why we are supposed to turn the other cheek, walk away, allow God to be the vengeance, use your discernment, and don't cut your hair. God bless you. Have a good day.